since we're on the topic of draft day, we're talking about the draft. The only trades we can see are going to be coming draft day. That's what's going to happen because, trade deadline is passed. NBA draft day is when you could start making trades. And there was a trade that the Boston Celtics, we talked about this last week, that the Boston Celtics said they were going to revisit.
Well, we all thought it was Dwight.
We thought it was going to be a big man. We thought it was going to be maybe a Boogie. We thought it was going to be a Dwight Howard. But the thing with Dwight Howard, we're like, well, his contract's going to expire and he's going to leave Houston anyways. But it's come out that Carmelo Anthony of the New York Knicks is in trade talks to go to the Boston Celtics, but Carmelo said no to that deal and did not want it. So it's come out that Carmelo Anthony was that big deal. On draft day, do the Celtics get it done? Because they're really going to need to include that Brooklyn pick that will most likely be a top 5 pick in that deal to get Melo. Do you think the Celtics get Melo? And what do you think they need to do to really convince Melo to waive that no trade clause?
Oh, the Celtics don't need to. Well, okay, here's what the Celtics need to do to get Melo. They have to go far in the playoffs. And right now, if the playoffs were to start today, as we were recording this podcast on Saturday, the first round matchup would be Boston and Indy. I feel like Boston can beat Indy.
I think it'll be a close series.
7.
Yeah, I think it'll be a close series. But
however, Boston needs to, I would say maybe they have to win the first round. However, they may have to get to, if they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals, boom. Then they can say to Melo, hey, if we had you, we would have went to the finals. Come on, come to the finals with us.
I think it's also dependent on what the Knicks do because currently in the last 10 games, when we're recording this podcast, they're 2-8 in their last 10 games. If the Knicks completely fall off, Melo might get sick of it. Melo might just get pushed out, and plus Melo might not like the coaching candidate they bring in because the coach. I don't think the Knicks are going to stick with Kurt Rambis as their coach. So I mean that might be dependent there, and if he might not like the coach, then he might want to leave. So I think it really depends on both the Knicks and the Celtics. What do you think? Do you think Melo? There's been the talks because LeBron kind of slipping up. LeBron's still one of the best players in the NBA. I'm not saying that he's not. But, he's not having those, LeBron years where he was having in Miami or early half in Cleveland. Do you think Carmelo can still be a superstar on a team? A team that can be led deep into the playoffs? Because, right now he's averaging 21 points per game and 8 rebounds per game, 4 assists there. Do you think he's really going to be back at that status where he's, scoring 28 in Denver in 2009 or even 28 and 27 in 2012 and 2013?
I think he can. I think the thing with New York is they're just in a different... The time with New York and Carmelo has passed. And everyone thought, even Melo, when he came back to New York and signed with them, the big thing was, hey, you know what? Maybe we can win a championship together, but nobody saw, and I mean nobody being the Knicks and Carmelo, saw that the Knicks ain't what they used to be when they were making the playoffs with Carmelo Anthony. With Anthony, it was really one of two things. Do I go and play with Kobe and possibly make the playoffs, but I think he'd be in the same situation except on the West Coast. The biggest, and this is not my hometown bias coming out, but if he wanted to make the playoffs, the team he should have signed with the last time he was making a deal were the Bulls. Now, am I happy we didn't get Melo in hindsight? Yeah, because we were able to now give Butler a bigger contract. Are we the 8th seed and probably falling out? Yes, but to me, Carmelo Anthony wouldn't have been the thing that everyone thought it was going to be.
Yeah, but then we could have traded Paul. So I don't think it's really just based on Jimmy Butler. I think if we brought Carmelo, I think this team would be higher than they are in the standings because this team's kind of a joke right now.
Well, and all it would. That was when we had Thibodeau.
Yeah, that was
before the Hoiberg.
Yeah.
The thing with this that's simple is if Boston wants him, they can make a push for him. And if I am Boston, you want this is when it comes to this trade. You want to either stay in the 3 spot or make that push for the second. Right now, they're 6 games out of the 2nd seed, so I don't see them passing the Raptors anytime soon. However, there's that game between them and the Heat for 3-4. if they want to get Melo.
Even the Hawks at 5 too.
Yeah, but if they want to get Melo, their best chance is to stay at the 3 seed. The reason why I say that is based on how the bracket works. You'd play Indiana in the first round. Like I said, I feel like Boston could beat Indy in a best of 7. When you go to the semifinals then, the conference semifinals, if you're the 3 seed, right now you would play most likely Toronto. If Toronto were to beat, it would be the Hornets right now. Let's be honest. Toronto could beat Charlotte in a best of 7. I feel more confident as the Celtics that I could beat the Raptors in a best of 7 rather than the Cavaliers, who I would be facing in the semifinals if I dropped to the 4 seed and won in the first round.
Well, you kind of have the answer for you have the answer for Kyle Lowry in Isaiah Thomas. I think Lowry's the better player there, but I think they're evenly matched players there. I think that Boston can push at Toronto, but I think just LeBron would be too much for the Celtics. If you put on Carmelo on this Celtics team, do you think they would have a shot at beating the Cavs and beating the Raptors? Because I think they have the shot at beating the Raptors here, but I would still pick the Raptors. And I think that obviously they're going to pick the Cavs in a 7-game series and get the Celtics. But do you think that that Carmelo makes this team an NBA Finals contender?
Well, it depends on what they would have to. What are you giving up for Carmelo Anthony?
Well,
that's the big question.
The Brooklyn pick, obviously.
Well, you got it. I'm talking about players because if you made a trade this season, there'd be players that you would have to give up in that deal. And the thing with Carmelo is the big thing about his contract is it's $22 million.
Yeah, but I think the thing would have been is they would have kept David Lee, and then they would have just traded David Lee back to the Knicks.
Yeah.
So then that would have been $15 million right there, and then I think you probably would have moved Marcus Smart there, and you probably would have moved either Olynyk or Jerebko or even Sullinger to make up for that cap. But I think the trade would have been done, and I think you would have kept Avery Bradley, you would have kept Jay Crowder, you would have kept Isaiah Thomas. So I think you have your 4 main players right there, all staying with the Celtics. So I looking at that, I still don't think they would be a finals contender with Carmelo, just due to the fact that I don't think I don't see Carmelo ever being an NBA Finals, a Finals winner, unless he's like a aging veteran on a team.
Oh, I'm not saying they would make it to the finals. I'm saying in the argument of them pitching, because the big thing why they would need to pitch to Melo individually is because of that no trade clause. And let's be honest, the Knicks, they're like a 0.01% to make the playoffs. They're 6.5 games out of the 8th seed. If you're able to make the playoffs as the Celtics when the Knicks aren't, and Melo he's now 31, he ain't getting any younger. So if you can make a push, I would say worst case scenario, the worst you have to do is you have to make it to the second round, the semifinals of the Eastern Conference, and push Toronto to 6 or 7 games.
Does it happen?
Yes.
Is Carmelo a Boston Celtic on draft day?
I think it is. The reason being is the Knicks aren't going to make the playoffs. The Celtics, at the least, can push the Raptors in a second-round series to 7 games. And at the best, you just got to make it to the conference finals and play the Cavaliers.
I think he stays. I honestly think he's going to stay as a Knick. I think he signed that contract for a reason. I think he's going to be at least dedicated for the Knicks for one more year, because I think he sees the potential in this team. This team wasn't really even supposed. This team is really now where they should have been at the start of the season. I think they, Phil might be able to talk him into maybe they'll try to make one more move and try to make one more piece, because Porzingis looking like a fantastic piece there. I think the Knicks might not be able to come around, but maybe they'll make a trade for the point guard from Jeff Teague and try to bring a real true point guard that's not Jose Calderon into the mix. I think they can make a move to make this team at least making it into the playoffs. So I feel like the Knicks aren't dead in the water, at least for the future. But then again, Phil Jackson might see the future in that Brooklyn pick, and then they might try to move Carmelo, and then Carmelo might kind of be forced into waiving that no trade clause and go to the Celtics there.